Hello everybody, welcome to the show today, guys. The Trump team is bulldozing big time. Donald Trump, Jim Jordan, the Doge team, get ready, guys, because our seniors are about to see an increase to their Social Security. Finally, guys, we're finally bringing this amazing news. I love it. Taking care of our seniors is a top priority for me, but the Doge team has officially cleaned up the Social Security system, removing over 12 million deceased individuals from its rolls, guys. This is a huge win up. Not only that, guys, they've been cleaning out fraud, and we have so much evidence now. They have found multiple illegals that have been receiving hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxpayers' Social Security funds, benefits, and more, guys. We have all the receipts. It is insane. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys, because this is huge. I love it. And not only that, to top that, President Trump has caught the Biden administration red-handed, now being coined Bidengate. Now they have 5 of the top officials of the Biden administration's key aides have been officially summoned to the House floor to testify before Congress over what the heck went on during the Biden administration. We now have it confirmed that it was not Biden that authorized the auto pen in its use in his Biden administration for most of its use. It was the White House staff. The White House staff were operating the auto pen without Biden's consent, and they were doing a lot of things, guys, that telling Biden one thing and doing another, and now their butts are going to be caught, guys. That's why I asked the question in the poll. Is it prison? Is it fines? Is it being fired? Is it treasonous charges? These people hijacked the Biden presidency. He was in cognitive decline, had no idea what was going on. He was being told one thing, they were doing another. It is insane, guys. People were coordinating behind Biden's back to get their personal agendas done. And now Jim Jordan has summoned 5, guys, 5 of the top key aides to testify before Congress. And it's about dang time. Because a big thing that just came out, guys, you knew it was going to happen. A whistleblower has reportedly come forward with evidence related to the Biden White House auto pen scandal, according to U.S. pardon attorney Ed Martin. Everything is coming out, guys. Not only did we just pass the big, beautiful bill, we're exposing all the corruption, and we are finally putting Americans first with our big, huge, beautiful bill. Not only have they just cleaned up 12 million deceased individuals from the Social Security Administration database, and remember, Elon Musk said, mark my words, these seniors will see an increase. Well, this is now where it's happening, and we're going to show you the receipts, guys. It is beautiful. We got the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. We've got the $4,000 deduction for 65 plus. We got the 2017 tax cuts permanent. Deduct interest on auto loans. And guys, again, this is just the beginning, because when we go back to one of the biggest scandals ever of them illegals abusing our system to get benefits that our taxpayers paid for, our people, our seniors put into their entire lives. And it's sad that the average Social Security check is $1,200. Well, we now know 12 million plus illegals, deceased have been on there, but illegals were using the deceased Social Security numbers to get hundreds of thousands of dollars in benefits. This is bombshell news, guys. So much to show you today. I'm excited, but the new coin name, guys, is Bidengate. This is what has happened. They said it makes Watergate look like nothing at this point. We got a big show for you today. I want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, to all of our subscribers and viewers. Thank you so much for your support. I want to say, if you're not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button, joining us here, the TrueLife News family. We want you here, guys. We want to take care of you with the top news because there is so much happening. Want to say thank you to all of our members of the channel, guys. Y'all are the best. Thank you so much for your support and your kindness in supporting our channel and sharing our videos, liking our videos. It means the world to us. Want to give some love to those that have donated, guys, to our charities each month. When you give a super chat, when you're a member, we use that money and we donate to charity on the 22nd of every single month. And yesterday, guys, we gave our biggest donation ever this year, over $3,000 to a local children's home that we donated live on stream. So I want to say thank you so much for that support. If you don't mind doing us a huge favor of hitting that thumbs up like button, guys, it really does help out so much. We've got the Social Security increase coming to seniors, guys, that we're going to go over because they have just removed over 12 million names, deceased people from the Social Security database, and now we're ready to move to phase 2, which is amazing. We have caught the Biden staff red-handed. 5 officials have now been officially summoned to the to Congress to testify. We have also new whistleblowers that have come forward and bring in all the evidence, guys, of the corruption that happened over the past 4 years. This is huge news, bombshell news we got to go over, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Check this out.
Of sentences, granted 39 pardons, and showed mercy on some of the most vile criminals in this country. Death row inmates were shocked to learn that they were no longer sentenced to die after committing horrific acts against innocent people. 37 men on death row got great news courtesy of the radicals who were controlling Joe Biden there at the very end. Kibani Savage murdered 12 people, including 4 little kids, when he firebombed the home of a witness to another crime that he had committed. Evidently, Joe Biden, we're told, felt sorry for Kibani, felt he deserved to live a full life despite taking that from 12 other people.
And he pardoned him.
Do you believe that?
Can you believe this, guys?
Regardless of your opinion on the death penalty, there's one thing that is absolutely clear, that Joe Biden was nothing like the former version of himself that we all watched in the Senate for a very long time. And the Joe Biden that voters elected, the moderate Pennsylvania Democrat, was not the man that ran the country. Here was Joe talking about those pardons on the last full day of his presidency at a Black Baptist church in South Carolina.
We lean into each other. Yes, sir. That's the sacred covenant of our nation. We pledge an allegiance, not just to an idea, but to each other. That's who we're pledging allegiance to. That's how I viewed my decision to issue more individual pardons and commutations than any president in American history.
Wasn't really himself, was he? We play this as an example to show just how different Joe Biden behaved as president when compared to the fiery and often offensive senator that we had watched for decades. In earlier years, Joe Biden was tough as nails on crime. He was much more socially conservative. He championed a crime bill 30 years ago that Democrats today would consider to be racist. Here's Biden before he became the auto pen president.
Right here, guys.
It doesn't matter whether or not they were deprived as a youth. It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society. The end result is they're about to knock my mother on the head with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up my wife, take on my sons. So I don't want to ask what made them do this. They must be taken off the street.
Wow.
Does that sound like a guy that's going to commute the death sentence of a man who murdered 12 people, including 4 little kids, later in life?
Guys, I'm telling you, every single piece of evidence is coming out. Like, check this out. We have a whistleblower has reportedly come forward with evidence related to the Biden White House autopen scandal, according to U.S. attorney Ed Martin. What we are finding out, guys, and this is across the board, Biden had no clue what was going on, who was being pardoned. He was reading off a teleprompter. And when it comes to, again, too, guys, the amount of fraud that was happening under the Biden administration, it was astronomical. Look at this. This came out this morning, guys. Meet the Colombian national Lina Maria Oravio Hernandez, who's living in the U.S. illegally under a stolen identity. She voted in the 2024 elections and received $400,000 in taxpayer benefits. All this was happening, guys. This is what they've been trying to do. That's why this is the biggest scandal in American history of what you're about to see next with the Biden gate, with all the pardons, all the auto pin, is because she was charged with false representative of a social security number, making a false statement in an application for a U.S. passport, aggravated identity theft, received stolen government money or property, fraudulent voter registration. And this is just the one of all the ones I get to show you today, guys. They are coming out in droves of all the corruption, the fraud, waste, and abuse. If you appreciate this truth, guys, if you don't mind, hit that thumbs up like button because it's only going to get deeper. Check this out.
We show you all this to re-emphasize the allegations that are being made as Biden-gate widens, that Joe Biden was perhaps never fully the president of the United States, that he was gone when he entered the White House. Here was our current president earlier today.
Look, it's a very sad thing what happened, but we're going to start looking into this whole thing with who signed this legislation. Who signed legislation opening our border? I don't think he knew. I said there's nobody that could want an open border. Nobody. And now I find out that it wasn't him. He auto-penned it. Who was operating the auto pen? He opened the borders of the United States of America. And I kept saying, who would do such a thing? Allowing criminals to pour in from all over the world. Who would sign this? Nobody would sign it. No sane person would sign it. You know who signed it? Radical left lunatics that were running our country.
Boom.
No sane person would do what Joe Biden did for all 4 of those years. And as we know, Joe Biden at one point in his life was a fairly sane man. Even more confusing is Joe Biden was never a radical. Who gets more radical as they become a senior citizen? Have you ever seen that? You're supposed to get more conservative as you get closer to death.
This is so bad.
Life teaches you a thing or two. Biden's administration in his late 70s was the most radical one we have ever seen in the history of this country. And it's not even close. Biden's White House made Obama look moderate. Think about that. On a lot of different policies, including immigration. Joe Biden wasn't the president. He was the Trojan horse, manipulated by some very bad people.
Very, very bad people. Guys, I want to show you this because this just broke and it's so big, guys. We're telling you all this information. I'm going to bring you breaking news as it's happening that the millions of dead people removed from Social Security rolls, Doge announced that it had marked almost 11 million people 120 years old or older as deceased on the Social Security rolls over the past 7 weeks. This is the beginning of the increase for our seniors. They had to clean up the rolls. They had to make sure that who was on there was actually supposed to be on there. So when they brought the increase to the Social Security, they could actually give it to people that deserved it, guys. The people that actually earned it. This is what I'm talking about, guys. Think about it. If Doge was never there, we'd still have these 11, 12 million people still on the Social Security rolls and a lot of them receiving other taxpayer benefits. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. Is this not crazy that this has been happening in our country? Richard Anderson, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. He said Katanya Jackson should be removed from the Supreme Court immediately, 100%. And Tom Jackson, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, yippee, let's go. Y'all show Tom and Richard some love in the chat, guys, because again, they're not stopping with this. I'm going to show you in a moment. 5 of the top key aides with the Biden administration have now been summoned before Congress. It's about time that we get some justice.
They didn't want him, and they were disappointed in getting him because they wanted Bernie Sanders. And then after about 2 weeks, they said, wait a minute, this is a gift. He'll do anything. We're going to use the auto pen. And they used the auto pen and everything. He didn't approve this stuff because when Joe Biden was with it, he would never have approved it. You take a look, he would have never approved open borders.
So there you have the current president's perspective. Again, how amazing it must have been to be a part of the inner circle that was around Joe Biden in those final 2 years, realizing you weren't just close to power, you were the power. Lefties implementing their own policies via Joe Biden's auto pen, never elected, just in the right place at the right time. Next to a president who eked his way in and then collapsed mentally soon after. Here's a look at some of Biden's final actions. Does any of these sound like the senator that we all watched from Delaware for all those years, a man from Pennsylvania. Deportation protection for 1 million, banning offshore drilling, commuting death row sentences, $74 billion for climate change, just shoveling money into this.
Guys, and we're talking about the last week of his presidency. Guys, this is the worst part, but guess what? We also have the flip side of it. We now have the DOJ investigating Act Blue. FTC is investigating Media Matters. Media Matters was the system, the company, the organization that the Biden administration used to censor and try to boycott try to boycott conservative voices. DHS is targeting Harvard. The executive office is going after Dem allied law firms. The U.S. attorney charging a Dem lawmaker with the crime. And we have is charging a Dem lawmaker with the crime, and then the FBI is arresting liberal judges, which we're going to show you in a moment, guys. All this stuff is happening because of all the evidence we now have.
As fast as he could, forgiving $4 billion in student debt. This is as radical as it gets. The Heritage Foundation found the same signature on basically every document that Biden signed during his presidency. How many times was Joe's name signed and he had no idea that it was signed?
Right there, guys.
Think about it. Who was running the country? Remember this story from Mike Johnson?
Sir, why did you pause LNG exports to Europe? Like, I don't understand, you know, liquefied natural gas is in great demand by our allies. Why would you do that? He looks at me stunned with this, and he said, I didn't do that. And I said, Mr. President, yes, you did. It was an executive order. And he goes, oh, you talk about natural gas. Yes, sir. He said, no, you misunderstand. He said, what I did is I signed this thing we're gonna conduct a study on the effects of LNG. It occurred to me, Barry, he was not lying to me. He genuinely did not know what he had signed. And I walked out of that meeting with fear and loathing because I thought, we're in serious trouble. Who is running the country?
Guys, this is the number one evidence that they're using right now as the key point of the case going against for Bidengate, going against the top 5 key aides that the Speaker of the House now is contradicting what the Biden administration says, has signed the affidavit, signed all the papers that said, yes, whenever I spoke to Biden, he had no clue what he had actually done. And now that's why I'm about to show you guys, this is like, again, biggest scandal ever, that the Biden administration was hijacked.
It's still just a wild story. I mean, it's the president of the United States. No clue that he had. I mean, think about the power of an executive order. How many lives that changes, how much industry that changes. He didn't even know. He had no idea. It's a surreal story, partly because the emperor had no brain, but more so the cover-up of all of it as well. Everyone who made it possible for Joe Biden to stay in office for years in that condition. And a lot of people had to work at that. CNN's Jake Tapper right now is cashing in on all of that. He was part of the problem. His book is out today. He's doing nonstop media promoting it, pretending he's not part of the scandal, that he's just outside looking in. Here he was on Megyn Kelly's podcast.
There is a way of pressing a man like that on the actual infirmities to bring it home to him and to the audience, and you didn't do it.
That's correct, I didn't. And like I said, I feel humility about my coverage. I mean, it's not like I was asking him his favorite movie or his favorite color. We were talking about Putin. We were talking about other issues of national importance. But yeah, I mean, of course, I've said, I look back at my coverage with humility. And I wish I did cover the issues of age and acuity, but I wish I had covered them much more.
Yeah. Tapper's very media-trained answer there to absolve himself of the journalistically unforgivable. For more than a year, we watched Joe Biden collapse long before that big debate seared what he was into everybody's minds. Jake Tapper refused to acknowledge any of what we saw until the night of the debate. If you go by Jake Tapper reporting, Joe Biden was fresh as a daisy until Donald Trump knocked him out of the race, effectively. Ignoring the note cards, the scripted questions, the constant brain fog. I mean, how many different examples So
guys, and I want to show you, if you don't know what it looks like, if you don't know what we're talking about, when we say the auto pin, this is the auto pin, everybody. This is what it looks like. It's a real pin with a machine that replicates the Biden signature. Now, this is the thing. The cover-up is huge. Auto pin gate, Biden gate, this is big. In one day, Biden granted 2,490 commutations. On another day, he granted 1,500. And this is the thing. When Biden grants these, he's supposed to review every single one of them. It's a presidential pardon. But yet, this is what they were saying, that these people were paid off because they wanted crime in our streets. They knew that Trump was coming on board, and they wanted to put out as many criminals as they could onto the streets because they'd already lost. And this was done days before Trump took office. I mean, guys, when you look at this right here, this is literally what the auto pin is. It's a machine that looks exactly like this. And this is the actual picture. And so when we talk about all the corruption that has happened, it was all managed by a small little machine that literally was controlling by other people controlling this entire country. Tell me there's not something wrong with what we're dealing with right now. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you so much. Denise Clark, custom art, let's go. Said, keep bringing the receipts and truth, Joel. We know these people were corrupt, but now we know to what extent. Appreciate all in this community. Let's go. Y'all show Denise some love in the chat, everybody. She's getting that OG status. Let's go.
weird, wandering answers, no answers, bizarre behavior in so many different ways. All of that was ignored. It all started the night of the debate in Tapper's mind, and Jake's book is selling fast because there's so many readers on his side that are desperate for something to blame for Trump's return. And this book is going to offer them that, and Jake Tapper's going to make a whole lot of money. Joe's granddaughter, though, Joe Biden's granddaughter, Hunter's daughter, the benefactor of all of those corrupt Biden deals that Hunter and Joe put together, is no fan of Jake Tapper's new book, calling it silly, calling it political smut, and calling Joe Biden so completely good and honest that this was all written at the expense of a man so completely good and honest. That from a young woman who had a fortune laundered to her by the Chinese because Joe Biden was so clearly not good and honest. And as Biden fights his spreading cancer, a reminder of Joe's cancer moonshot charity, as we talk about good and honest Joe Biden tonight, which brought in millions and millions of dollars and spent it all on high-dollar executive salaries.
Look at that, guys.
On parties, on travel.
This, guys, let me tell you this. This is this is what the Hillary campaign did. This is what all these top Democrats have done that breaks my heart, guys, because again, too, when you donate or you give a super chat, I show you, like we actually show you on like what people give. You can see it, and we donate. So what you donate, YouTube takes a huge chunk of it, and then we donate whatever's left, guys. But look at here. They tout around, oh, please donate to the Biden Cancer Initiative. We want to help people. Well, guess what? They received almost $5 million in contributions. Salaries. Guys, these are people that have salaries that got paid $3 million. So 65% of the contributions were to administrative charges, not a bit towards the actual cancer initiatives. And then conferences, travel, $742,000. How much did they give of that cancer initiative to research grants? $0. Guys, this is the corruptness. This is why I donate to local charities, because I don't like the big ones because there's so much administrative cost. I want the money to go to actual people and they to actually feel our donations. But this is, again, more and more corruption that we are finding. And what blows my mind, guys, is, again, we have the big, beautiful bill in place. There's more that's about to come next, but there's more that's being revealed. And I'm just so thankful because, again, too, we're finally living under a president that is putting America first. Check this out.
You kind of summarize where we are. The big, beautiful bill passed. Your structure of trying to bend the arc of mandatory spending in the out years is now approved, head to the Senate. Where do we stand, sir?
Obviously, we had a big vote this morning to get the bill out of the House. a massive bill. Any one of these provisions in this bill would normally, in a different era, been the subject of months of the debate, but we were able to do it in one bill and send it to the Senate. Well, the thing that I want to unpack, a couple things. Number one, it is an enormous bill. It is much of our agenda, but it is only one aspect of what a comprehensive budget picture is. And so, like, this wasn't a budget resolution. This was a procedural device to get as much as your agenda through the Senate and avoid a Senate filibuster. Doesn't include the tariffs, doesn't include the discretionary fight that we're going to do on rescissions and cutting all the non-defense spending that we sent up in our budget resolution. There's a lot of things that are part of a comprehensive fiscal picture that gets you to balance. But what this bill does is it ends, I believe, 30 years of futility with not being able to do anything substantial on mandatory savings. The last time we had any real victory was 1997 with passage of the Balanced Budget Agreement, which of course had welfare reform as part of it. This bill has nearly $2 trillion by as the scores get updated based on the changes that House conservatives were able to work with us on. This bill will have nearly $2 trillion in mandatory savings, more than double what was achieved in 1997. And it will mean, as a result of reasonable economic growth assumptions over 10 and the mandatory savings that are part of this bill, that this bill will reduce the deficit and will help us with our debt. And I believe the most important thing we need is actually victories on our side of the football field. That's what this bill does, and that's what we have not had for 30 years. It also then sets us up for an enormous fight on non-defense appropriations, the woke, the weaponized bureaucracy. That is still going to happen this year. This bill makes it easier because we are paying for all of our homeland security increases and our defense increases that are normally the kinds of things that cause Republicans or Democrats to be divided. It keeps us from having a rock-down fight on non-defense discretionary later this year. This bill, in fact, sets that up. So I'm extremely excited about it. Obviously, President Trump closed it out yesterday, and now we go to the Senate to try to get as much of this and hopefully more as we possibly can.
No, he's a closer, but here's the thing. In selling it to the bond market, the growth rate, which I think can be justified, the House used 2.6. Hass is talking about 3% or more, but I think there are things on the supply side that can be sold. Your additional cuts and rescissions, I don't think is in here. That can be sold. The tariffs, I don't know. The tariffs are going to be at least a couple of $100 billion, maybe $3. I hear as much as $500 billion. That can't be scored by CBO. We got that. But in a big, beautiful package, it can be sold to the bond market. I've got Scott Bessent, I've got Russ Vogt, I got Hassett, maybe even Rand and Navarro. I got 3, 4, 5. Throw in Lutnick. Are people that understand these and can explain it to capital markets. What is the plan for that? I got a big, beautiful bill, but it's not comprehensive because certain things can't be in it because of the nature of the reconciliation. When are we going to go? Because I think that's when people understand, well, hey, maybe I want more 10-year treasuries and I'm not going to charge you, 4.6% or, if over 5 on the 30s. When are we going to have a comprehensive? If anybody can sell something, it's Donald Trump, right? And
guys, and again, too, I just love it. It all keeps coming out, guys, and I just got to share this with you because I know that you appreciate this. And when it's breaking news, guys, I just got to show you. Check this out. Representative Cori Bush, a Democrat from Missouri, is under federal investigation for allegedly misusing campaign funds. The DOJ, FEC, and House Ethics are probing $100,000 that was paid to her husband for security services. This is amazing, guys. When we start looking into all the family members that were receiving hundreds of thousands to even millions of dollars of campaign donations from ordinary people, and it's all going to family that are literally media family tied to guys, the corruption is real, and I love it, guys. I love that we get to expose it every single day because we have a new administration that is not afraid to go after them with the Department of Justice. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support.
He's a deal guy. He knows capital markets. When are we going to get on offense and push what you just said, which is a winning message and happens to be reality?
No, it's something that we've been trying to do over the last week, particularly because we got the news from Moody's. And look, with Moody's, I think there's some Liz Truss attacks going on with regard to the timing of this. They were basically trying to get themselves updated for being irrelevant for the last 15 years. In terms of what's the substance of what the credit ratings have said over years is, look, there's been no success towards moving the structural debt and deficits from mandatory savings. We think we accomplished that. But to your point, your question, we believe that the tariffs are a part of this. The tariffs are happening right now. Everyone thinks the president's negotiating these bills. We are on a current glide path right now for $3 trillion over 10 years, notwithstanding how the reciprocal agreements end up. That's based on the things that are in place right now. That we are seeing record levels of tariffs, and they are coming in to the extent over 10 years of $3 trillion.
Let's go.
We are going to send up rescissions bills. There's this meme out there that we're not sending rescissions bills up. We have a $9 billion package of Doge cuts to foreign aid and Corporation for Public Broadcasting and NPR. It is almost ready to go up. Why is the delay? The delay is because the House actually wants to pass it, and we have been working with House appropriators, Tom Cole, Mario Diaz-Balart. For the first time in history, I've had conversations with the House appropriators. They want to pass it in the House and put pressure on the Senate. I don't want to send rescissions bills up there that go nowhere. And then, of course, we remain committed in keeping impoundment on the table. So if they don't move these cuts, we are still going to have our executive tools to, in fiscal year 25, to bend and cut and reduce woke and weaponized bureaucracy and make Doge cuts permanent. So this is a comprehensive picture.
Yeah, those three things, because CBO, because of the nature of it, can't score certain things, and reconciliation, you can't discuss things because of the way. But I count from Hassett on growth rates of which they say they can back up, and I think they can, $4 trillion of additional tax revenues coming in on the reduced tax structure we've got. Number one, you just said $3 trillion over 10 on tariffs, minimum. That's 300. You add the 400 billion of additional growth, tax growth, and you add the 300 billion. I'm at 700 billion. All of a sudden, you throw in some rescissions. I'm getting close to the $1 trillion that we talked about cutting. This gets you on the 6.5, the glide slope to 3.5. Zero hedge, and everybody reporting, hey, the 6.5 goes to 7. The reason is we're not on a full offense, relentless about you're not looking at the math right, and here's the math. And if you do that, the bond market's going to react, because right now we're playing with one hand tied behind our back because of the constraints of the reconciliation process, sir.
Couldn't have said it better. We have to zoom out. We got to show the full picture of what this administration is accomplishing across the board. And once we tell that story, people will be as excited as I am, as OMB has been in helping shepherd this to the completion and getting the president to be able to get it across the finish line. Why? Because it ends fiscal futility. We haven't had any victories on this side of the football field in nearly 30 years, and now we're talking about $2 trillion in mandatory savings.
Yep. Guys, we are seeing things finally come full circle, baby. And you know what? I just got to show you this, because, again, there is stuff that they're doing right now, guys. Trump is such he's a big troll. Like, he troll anybody. But what I love, too, is he's not afraid to do things different. So on the right, you see the picture of him whenever he got shot, almost assassinated. That's the picture that, guys, we have back here. That Hillsbury studio, Woodbury Hills studio that they painted for us right here, guys. Custom oil painting, guys, right there. We've got that picture behind us too. But look at the new picture that Trump just added to the White House. Does this not add some new flair to the one on the left, to the White House, guys? It's got Abraham Lincoln, Reagan, and then Trump. That is what I'm talking about. Gene Kopech, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. So we were all made to look like fools in front of the whole world. The auto pen was our president, a machine. The Dems must never be in power again. 100%. A small machine that could fit on anybody's desk was controlling the United States of America. And thank you so much, Ken Layton, for the super chat. Said, praise God for you, Joel. Hey, praise you. God bless you, brother. Y'all show Ken and Gene some love in the chat, as well as Amy INFJ and Lay Lewis with the super chat. Hey, I love the coffee. Said the floor has been swept and mopped. Time to see what's left. Let's go. Whoop, whoop. I love it. Y'all show Amy and Lay some love in the chat. And guys, again, the very people that are investigating it, remember, 5 key White House ex-aides from the Biden administration are now appearing before Congress. We have the guy who's working with Jim Jordan, who's actually going to be making them testify over what the heck is going on. Listen to our boy Comer, because he's starting to get some clout with actually having a backbone in Congress. Check this out.
Congressman James Comer joins me now. All right, Congressman, who are you going to subpoena first?
Well, we're going to request that 4 staffers that we've identified as the main gatekeepers for the Biden White House, that they come and answer our questions. We're also requesting that Dr. O'Connor come. That's the first step towards a subpoena.
Well, tell me first who these 4 people voluntarily are. Who are the 4?
Well, there are no names that anyone that normally watches Fox would know. They're behind the scenes. They fly
right
under
there,
the radar.
Guys.
These are the unelected bureaucrats that we believe had an overwhelming.
Think about this, guys. There's 4 to 5, because there's another one that has come out. 4 to 5 unelected bureaucrats, you don't know their names, who have actually been controlling the United States for the past 4 years before Trump, with the auto pin. Guys, that's how bad things have been.
Influence over Joe Biden, and could have possibly been serving as de facto president of the United States. The first step to issue a successful subpoena is to offer someone an invitation, a sincere request to come in and answer questions. If they do not, the next step will be the subpoenas. I agree with everything that the last person said about subpoenas, except the special counsel. I think that we can do that in Congress. We're going to bring these people in for depositions and transcribed interviews, and we're going to ask every question that a good journalist like yourself, Jesse, would ask. The American people want to know this. Momentum's on our side. New evidence has emerged just in the last few days, and I think that all eyes will be watching this new investigation by the House Oversight Committee.
So you don't want to say the names, and that's fine. Maybe you don't want to tip anybody off, or maybe establish at least kind of a decent relationship with this thing. Would you expect to subpoena Hunter and Dr. Jill?
Whoa.
Yeah, I think we're going to start with these and see where the road goes. You know, what I said back during the end of the Biden administration, that our sources were telling us that Hunter Biden was spending more time in the Oval Office than Joe Biden.
Wow.
I said on some shows that Hunter Biden was essentially the de facto chief of staff. And people like Jake Tapper made fun of me on the liberal CNNs, and I think Morning Joe did as well. Now Jake Tapper's doing interviews saying, yeah, it looks like Hunter Biden was the de facto chief of staff. That's exactly.
Guys, Hunter Biden, basically they're saying has been the chief of staff of the United States of America. Wow. Like, again, is not the crap hitting the fan with all this breaking bombshell news?
Word for word what I said. But if you have an incompetent president who was a mental invalid, like most Americans are coming to realize, then the de facto chief of staff was essentially the president of the United States. So this is very serious. And when you've got someone like Hunter Biden that everyone agrees was on the take and had zero morals and zero ethics, this is a huge problem. And I think that every American deserves answers. And we're going to bring every single person that was involved in this cover-up in front of Congress and ask them all the questions that the American people deserve to have answers for.
So what are the Democrats on your committee going to do? I mean, because they've said that Biden was shot. They've acknowledged that there was a cover-up. Are they going to fight you? Or are they going to go along?
Oh, they'll fight us. That's all they do. They obstruct. They take their talking points from George Soros and the Democrat National Committee. Remember, they fought us saying that Joe Biden was ethical. They fought us when we said Joe Biden was in mental decline. You had people like Dan Goldman and Jamie Raskin go on even Fox News, in addition to the liberal mainstream media networks, and say that, no, they just talked to Joe Biden and he was tip top. He was in great physical condition. He was at the top of his game. Now they're coming back covering the track saying, yeah, it looks like he was in mental decline. Well, we all know he's in mental decline. What we need to know is who was calling the shots at the White House. And one thing that was also mentioned on your show thus far is that when you sign a document that has legal implications, it has to be signed personally. It can't be signed by an auto pen. You use auto pen for proclamations and mass letters and things like that. So I think that if we can understand more about the auto pen and whether or not Joe Biden authorized it, I think this could lead to a lot of those executive orders being kicked out in court.
Yes.
All right. And when do you expect these subpoenas to go out?
Well, the letters have already gone out to the staffers as well as Dr. O'Connor. So if we don't hear anything from them in a week, then I would expect to start seeing subpoenas.
And if they fight the subpoena, what do you do?
We'll go to court. Jesse, they're going to try to plead executive privilege, and they're lawyering up, and we're ready. That's why we're making sure every I's dotted and every T's crossed. The best thing that's happened in the last week with respect to this is all the new books that are coming out and all the former Biden staffers who are trying to cover their tracks. You're going to see people like Pete Buttigieg who think they have political futures come forward and say, we didn't know anything. There were gatekeepers. They wouldn't let us speak with Joe Biden. And the more that comes out, the easier it's going to be to get to the truth.
All right. We'll follow.
Let's get to the truth, people. That's what we want. This is True Life News, guys. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, guys, thank you so much for your support. When we see this right here, this is without a doubt some of the biggest scandals that we have ever seen on this channel, guys, but it's coming out right now. This lady received $400,000 in taxpayer-funded benefits, wasn't illegal, had a stolen identity, voted in the 2024 elections, had a social security number, did all the illegal stuff, guys, and this is the one of so many. This is what we're going after, the fraud, the waste, and the abuse. And now that we know that the Doge team has cleaned out over 12 million, guys, because I'm going back. When I look at my numbers, there's some people that are reporting 11. I'm looking at what the actual Doge department said, and this is from the Doge X account. They said after 11 weeks, Social Security has finished their major cleanup initiative. 12.3 million individuals aged 120 plus have now been marked as deceased. Now that they've been marked as deceased, you can't get Medicare benefits, Medicaid, SNAP, housing assistance on any of these Social Security numbers. This is going to have a cascading effect across the entire federal government because now, guess what? This cuts 12 million plus of fraud, waste, and abuse. And the people, think about it, just like this person that I showed you was using a deceased Social Security number and still getting benefits. $400,000 in taxpayer-funded benefits, guys. This is why now they're saying that an increase is coming for Social Security recipients because they've now cleaned up the database. Because they didn't want to do an increase before and then potentially give an increase to people that weren't eligible or weren't supposed to be receiving the benefits. But now that they've cleaned it up, now it's time that we're going to see this big, huge change. I want to say thank you so much, Brenda Eves, for the super chat. Let's go. Said, love what you are doing. Thank you so much, Brenda. Y'all show Brenda some love in the chat, as well as Gene Copage for the super chat. Said, God bless you, Joel, and your family. God bless you, Gene. Thank you so much for your support. Remember, we are here to serve y'all. And when it comes to the breaking news, guys, we are here to bring it. What you're about to see next, guys, this is huge because, again, it always boils down to catching this fraud, waste, and abuse, because the more that we can catch, the more we can put and keep our hard-earned money in our pockets. Check this out.
Mr. Secretary, I want to go back to some of your earlier testimony, be sure I heard it correctly. The 76-day period you're talking about, that's the period between the time that President Trump was elected and President Biden left office, is that right?
That is correct.
And during that short period of time, 76 days, how much taxpayer money went out the door of the Department of Energy?
From the Loan Program Office in loans and commitments, $93 billion.
Gah!
Well over twice as much as in the previous 15 years. So,
okay, guys, we're setting the stage. In a short period of time, the Biden administration sent out $93 billion. And just like he said, more than the total amount for the past 15 years. You cannot tell me that there's not fraud, waste, and abuse in what just happened.
How do you vet and do due diligence on a loan in 76 days? One loan, much less $93 billion. How do you do it?
I think it's probably pretty clear it wasn't done in many cases. As I mentioned, I'm told
Pull it back.
Holding back clearly in place stuff. There is lots of funds that have gone out the door and commitments that were made from businesses that provided no business plan, no numbers about their own financial solvency or how this project
So
should
you're
actually
telling
work.
me that the Department of Energy, in the 76-day period before their boss was going to leave office, gave or loaned money to entities that had no business plan?
Correct.
No financials?
Correct. A number of those were were before the 76-day period as well. I've come in with great concern about how this institution, this great American institution, has been run and how American taxpayer money has been handled. I'm sorry everyone's upset that we're taking some time to do it, but what we've seen, and what the record shows,
I'm
is
not
just
upset. Could it be that a lot of people say you haven't returned your calls?
Wow.
Could it be that you and your colleagues have returned the calls, but the people calling just didn't like the answer? Could that be a possibility?
I'm not aware of that. You know, I give my cell phone number to any senator that wants
I know you
it,
do.
and I return my calls.
I mean, has your department gone dark? Somebody said your department's gone dark. Is it dark over there?
It doesn't look dark behind me.
I don't see any of you sitting on your hands. Somebody made that charge. I see everybody's hands. Let me ask you something else, Mr. Secretary. Does anybody ever come to the Department of Energy to get some of this free money and lie to you?
Wow.
I have...
Guys, look at this guy right behind him, not the lady. Look at the guy right behind him who's like, whoa, what's about to happen? A bomb's about to go off, guys. The bombshell news, the fraud, the waste, the abuse is so astronomical. We're not talking a million. We're not even talking a billion, guys. We're talking almost $100 billion put out in 76 days before Biden left office with no accountability, no due process, no protocol, like nothing, guys. If this is not huge, like, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys, because I just love the expression of this guy over here.
Not experienced that, but I think it's a reasonable assumption that that has happened.
Does anybody ever come to you? Or is it conceivable that some of these folks that heard about this free money came to you with a half-baked idea?
I think it's very conceivable. In fact, I've seen such plans that were half-baked, would be charitable.
That didn't have a business plan, right?
Correct. A promise to develop one, to find a location.
Just give me the money and I'll develop the plan later.
Correct.
And now you're going back through, not money that's already been contracted, but you're going back through and checking each one of these loans and these grants to make sure there was no stealing, aren't you?
We are.
And you make sure there was no incompetence, aren't you? Is that correct?
We're looking at that, and yeah, my blood pressure is rising right now just thinking about what we have seen and what did happen at the department.
And you're going to tell some of these boondoggles no, aren't you?
That's correct.
And they're going to be upset, aren't they?
That's correct.
And they ought to be upset, shouldn't they?
I don't think they should be upset. I think they should be ashamed.
It's rare that I'm speechless.
Ooh, wow, that is true.
But I want to be sure I understood. The people running the Department of Energy for President Biden's administration shoveled $93 billion, not million, $93 billion out the door in 76 days, and it just happened to be the time between when President Trump was elected and President Biden, their boss, was leaving. Is that right?
It is correct and distasteful. Confidence undermining.
My God.
Guys, this is a lot of money, but look at how, Senator Kennedy is reacting. And I promise you, trust me, they're going to work to claw this stuff back. But this is astronomical of what we are experiencing, of how much money of our tax dollars were spent with no oversight whatsoever.
Look, I hope you take whatever time you need to go through all of these projects penny by penny. I mean, I've heard this testimony today. Well, it'll cost jobs in my state. If somebody steals $50 million and goes and spends the money in their state, that's going to stimulate the economy, isn't it?
Yes, it will.
But that's still stealing, isn't it? And it's still illegal, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, they were spending money at the Department of Energy like it was ditch water. Their budget went from $60 billion to $160 billion since fiscal year 2021. It just sounds to me like there were a lot of people coming to the Department of Energy who had all 4 feet and their snout in the trough. And I hope you'll turn down the boondoggles and refer the thieves to the Department of Justice.
We will indeed. Senator, the one complication in there, too, is mixed in there are good companies doing good things honestly with credible plans.
And you're trying to separate the wheat from the chaff.
Yes. That's what we're trying to do. That's our job. And we're doing it. But there's a lot of chaff.
Let me ask you one final question. Let me go back to how many employees you have.
Guys, I got to show you this because it's so important. This right here is what did everything. This little machine. You're talking about, I mean, let me. This machine probably is no bigger. No bigger than this right here. That's how big this machine is. This is the thing I put my laptop on, I bought. But look. This is probably how big that machine is that you see on the screen, and what you just heard of all this $93 billion sent out by AutoPen, Biden's signature, executive order, pushed through in 76 days, never been done before. $93 billion that's more than what's been given in the past 15 years, guys. All together. And you want to, this is where I get really frustrated because the Democrats try to act like nothing's been done wrong and they're just so innocent and Biden's just an old man with cancer that nothing was done wrong. No, this is the biggest scandal in history. This is the most corrupt. Our tax dollars being used in the most fraudulent way, and we need justice. We need people to be put in prison. We need people to be charged, arrested, convicted, so that it doesn't happen again. Thank you so much, Pamela Conley, for the super chat. Let's go. Said fingers crossed that the big, beautiful bill passes the Senate. Oh, ain't no problem. It's going to pass. And Big Dog DFW with 30, guys, 30 gifted True Life News memberships. Show Big Dog some love in the chat. Big Dog been with us for a long, long time, guys. If you got a free membership from Big Dog, show Big Dog some love in the chat. What a blessing. God bless you, brother. OG of the channel. Thank you so much. Just growing the True Life News family, guys. We're bringing the truth. We want as many people to hear it as possible. Thank you so much, Big Dog. Show Big Dog some love in the chat, everybody.
Now, there have been some allegations today that you've cut tens of thousands of employees. Is that accurate?
Well, I think the allegations were thousands, and our headcount will ultimately be reduced by thousands, but we are doing it slowly.
You've got 16,000 now?
Yes.
And you think you can do it with fewer than 16,000?
Correct.
What's wrong with that?
I think it's just common sense business.
Yeah. Businesses do it every day in the real world.
American taxpayers deserve it.
That's never happened in the federal government. I mean, it's easier to divorce your spouse than to get rid of a federal employee up here. That's not the way the world works, is it, Mr. Secretary?
It's not the way the world should work. And I give enormous credit to President Trump, who had the boldness to say, if there's a right thing that needs to be done and it's difficult, please do it. And so, yes, this is new territory. This is not what happens normally in the federal government, but it is what needs to happen periodically in the federal government. And I give the credit to President Trump, who's willing to take the heat and has set the departments free. Make the changes you need to make to better serve American taxpayers and American consumers. And across his administration, that's what's being done.
All right,
guys, it's about dang time, guys. I'm so ready to see truth. I'm so ready to see people winning. I'm so ready to see, guys, even just like with this on screen, Cori Bush, who's a representative for Democrat from Missouri, is under federal investigation for allegedly misusing campaign funds. DOJ, FEC, and House Ethics are probing $100,000 paid to her husband for security services. Was it legit or personal enrichment? That's what is the big question that's being asked, guys, because again, what you're about to see next, there are 5 key ex-Biden aides who have been summoned to testify before Congress. We have their pictures, we got their names, we got accountability, guys, right here. Check this out.
So Republican lawmakers are demanding answers from President Biden's physician and other former White House officials over what they knew, when they knew it, regarding former President Biden's health issues.
Yeah, senior White House correspondent, the younger Peter Doocy, joins us now with more. Peter.
Good morning. And the small group of staffers that formed a tight circle around Joe Biden for his one and only term all just got letters from the House Oversight Committee to come in and explain what they did or did not do to conceal his decline from the American public. So the following Biden folks, go check your mail. His former physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, the former director of the Domestic Policy Council, Neera Tanden, the former assistant to the president and chief of staff to the First Lady, Anthony Bernal, the former assistant to the president and deputy chief of staff, Annie Tomasini, and the former deputy assistant to the president and director of strategic outreach, Ashley Williams.
Guys, right here, the first 5 speaking under oath about what the heck happened with Biden. I promise you, there is going to be things that have been caught. There are lies that are going to be said. They're going to catch them, and they are going to be held accountable. There's no way that you worked as closely with Joe Biden as they all did and did not even see or didn't say anything, because what is more important, protecting the Democratic Party or serving the United States? I am so ready, guys, to show the testimonies of these people on screen so that we can hold them accountable.
They're behind the scenes. They fly under the radar. These are the unelected bureaucrats that we believe had an overwhelming influence over Joe Biden and could have possibly been serving as de facto presidents of the United States.
Well, now one of the most legendary Democratic thinkers of the last century believes that nothing coming out this week should be that big of a surprise because the American people told pollsters it was a problem 2 years ago.
I think Jake and those book, I mean, it was a good book, but to me, it was a water's wet book. Like I said, 80% of the country. I'll never forget, in May of 2023, to be exact, I saw a Washington Post ABC poll, and I went, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. It had never changed.
I asked Caroline Leavitt if President Trump has followed up yet with folks that work in the offices here or that work in the residence to find some kind of files or some kind of backup to all of these Republican assertions that there were these de facto presidents, and she said that he has not yet. Back to you.
All right, Peter. The scandal continues.
Guys, this is huge. We are going to continue following after this, guys, just because it's that big. When we look at everything that's happening, even HHS Secretary RFK Jr. came out and is advising Americans to do their own research and be skeptical of authorities' medical advice. Look, he said people in authority lie, and we've seen a lot of that in our country. People in the media lie, and people need to make their own judgments and be skeptical and maintain their capacity for critical thinking that was shut down during the COVID, and the media was complicit in that. And that's why, guys, we try to show you every single receipt. We try to show you exactly what's going on, the papers, all the announcements, even with things like this. Even when it comes to what Secretary Noem posted. She literally said, suck it. Guys, this is hilarious because a judge tried to stop her from deporting murderers and criminal gangbangers, and they actually went to the Supreme Court and they won. And guess what? She gets to deport them. This is the actual notice of voluntary dismissal. These are the actual documents. These are the receipts. This is why it's so important, guys. We want to show you everything across the board, and we hope that you appreciate this, guys. If you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support. Want to say thank you to all of our viewers, all of our subscribers. We could not do it without you. We appreciate you so much. If you're not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button. We want to take care of you every day with the top news, guys. It matters. Knowing the truth, knowing the context, seeing everything, no matter where it comes from. Guys, we show you things from CNN, from Fox, everybody, because to us, what matters is we make sure that we see the full picture of the truth. And want to say thank you to our members, guys. Your continued support is allowing us to continue to give more and more every single month. Yesterday's video in the day, we gave the most this year, $3,000 to a children's home, a local charity, guys. In the past 8 months, this channel, your support, we have given over $36,000 to local charities, guys. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is a dream of mine to bring together people to continue to give and change people's lives, especially changing the lives of those that are innocent, didn't do anything wrong. These kids didn't do anything wrong. And they were given a hard deck of cards of life to live by, but we're going to support them. And I appreciate you so much. I want to give some love to Richard Anderson, Tom Jackson, Denise Clark, Custom Art, Gene Kopedge, Ken Lighton, Amy, INFJ, Leigh Lewis, Brenda Eves, Gene Kopedge, Pamela Conley, and one of our OGs of the channel, guys, Big Dog DFW, gifting 30 TrueLife News memberships, guys. If you got a free membership from Big Dog, show him some love in the chat. This is a big day, guys, of bombshell news that we're finally bringing key aides that worked with Biden before Congress to testify. We're going to get the truth. We're seeing so much wins for Social Security. Social Security increases. Guys, this is beautiful. This is what we wanted. This is putting America first. I love you guys. Appreciate you so much. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.